Ahoy friends, I'm Carol Record, artist, educator, designer, photographer, game designer, and this is my image, Stepfather. It's been on exhibit in Buckham Gallery's Snap exhibit in Flint, Michigan, and I just wanted to say thank you to Buckham Gallery, and also I should have sent you some of these postcards that I have made, but since I didn't, I wanted to make a video thanking you and reading what I have on here. Stepfather, Me Too. So my experiences happened way before the Me Too movement, but I was in grad school, and in 2017 I had a darkroom photography class with Sarah Cusimano Miles, and I finally was to a point where I felt comfortable and eager in a way to create this series, which is primarily laptopograms created with silver gelatin paper and my laptop, and then expose them and then develop it in the process and stuff. Anyways, that process for making these was really important to me because I was working with old family images. Some I took, some I didn't. I scanned documents and then I cut and removed pieces and stuff like that. But I wanted to make it my own. I needed to feel like my hand was in it. But also for me, the process of revisiting these old family photos, curating them, scanning documents, going through, modifying them, putting together the story and stuff, it was a very cathartic experience that helped me to process and physically release things. So for me, going to my old family documents and all that kind of stuff, that was going back and revisiting it, and then putting it in the computer, organizing it, and then manipulating it to express what for so long I wasn't able to express, was like this. It was basically like processing the trauma, but through my art. And for me, the digital part was important because first, I'm a huge geek, so that's just a big part of my life. But the digital part was kind of like me going back into my mind and reprocessing this. And then the laptopogram process was important to me because that act of putting the silver gelatin paper against the screen was my way of basically moving it from my mind into my body to let me physically process and let go of so much pain from this story. And then that process of going through the chemical process and developing and just all of that, and the fact that with laptopograms, when you're pressing it against the screen, there'll be bits and pieces that aren't crystal clear and some that are soft and stuff. To me, it was just this beautiful metaphor and like ritual for letting go. And man, it helped me so much. I mean, I had already been processing this for a long time, and my story, you can't really summarize it. It was really crazy, but I'll try. So I'll read this first. The Me Too movement went viral in 2017 and prompted me to visually re-examine my own history of sexual assault. From 1996 to 1998, from the age of 13 to 15, I was raped and manipulated by my stepfather, a man I had grown to love and trust like my own father. This series revisits family photographs and documents and uses the addition and subtraction of various elements to shed light on and express what for so long I could not. If you have experienced assault, please know that you are not alone and that what happened to you is not your fault. Your trauma does not define you, and with time, you can heal. Never lose hope. Now it can take a ton of time. It can take a ton of time, especially if you're not fortunate enough to have people in your life that are familiar with trauma and PTSD and how to help people get help. I'm thankful that my family, I had a support system. They believed me when I came out about what had happened to me, which happened for several years. They supported me and walked me through the legal process. I was in and out of counselors' offices and legal offices and courtrooms for 3 years. This is basically my entire high school thing, which really messed up my life. It messed up my life, and a big reason why I didn't hit milestones that my peers did. I have over a period of 10 years that I call my dark ages, and I knew that something was wrong, but I didn't really realize what's wrong, because when you are someone that has experienced trauma and you're still in the midst of that trauma, you are too close. You are too close to be able to see just how much it's affecting you and all of that kind of stuff. And anyways, I went through 3 years of legal stuff, and finally at the end of my senior year, we spent a week in court. My ex-stepfather was found guilty on one of the 2 counts that we took him to court for. He appealed for like a year, and then he skipped the country when he was supposed to turn himself in. A year and a half later, I don't remember the exact timeline, he's caught crossing the border from Panama to Colombia or vice versa and extradited back to the United States by the FBI. He finally goes to prison. I can't remember if he was sentenced to 5 or 7 years. Either way, it was not enough. But he was only in there for like 2.5 years before he came up for parole. Now, during this entire time, the legal stuff, the court, and while he's out of the country, he has people stalking me, driving by our house at night. They tried setting our house on fire. They slit my mom's tires multiple times. They broke into my boyfriend, now husband's, apartment the day after the court case. Didn't take anything, ransacked everything, tore up all of the photos of us, and wrote, "I know who you are," on his bathroom mirror. I am in undergrad. I'm trying to do the thing that I was told to do, even though I was in a horrible state. And if I knew what I knew now, I would have taken a break and gotten help and taken care of myself. But I'm in undergrad. I'm probably in my 2nd year of college, and my family we moved to a new town. We are living in hiding. Back when we had the phone book, we put our name in the phone book under a fake name, trying to keep my ex-stepfather and his people from finding us. And man, the first time after we thought that we had escaped him, that he called my mom's house, and I answered the phone and I heard his voice on the phone, I just froze. I just froze in terror. And I remember I responded like a word or two to him, and my mom was standing right in front of me, and I managed to kind of communicate, or somehow she knew, because like, I'll tell you, like all the hair on my body was probably standing, and she took the phone and stuff. But later on, I'm out on my own. I'm going to college. He hires a private investigator to track me down. And that private investigator, some guy named Carl Peavy from Florida, calls me over and over again. And I report this, and the district attorney, law enforcement tell me, basically to keep taking these calls and record them and stuff. And I don't know exactly what happened to it. But anyways, tried to bribe me to change my testimony, and I wouldn't. And then Dan, my ex-stepfather, his sister shows up on my doorstep. I come home from school to find her on my doorstep. And I'm proud of how I handled it, because I knew that she was just a sister that didn't believe that her brother could do something like this, and that believed his story of blah, 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 and I felt empathy for her. I told her, I'm sorry he did this. I'm not lying about it, and I mentioned the private investigator and all this kind of stuff. And, she's like, basically, it's supposed to be twice what he offered you, all these people are crooks. Anyways, he's in jail for a few years. Around 2006, I get a message from my lawyer asking me to write a letter about why he should not be released on parole. I do that. Of course, I have so many police reports, harassment. He skips the country. He skipped the country. Like, why is he coming up for parole? I write a letter, and I get notified that his parole is being denied. And then 2 months later, I get a message telling me that he's being released. And when that happened, I just couldn't think about it anymore. This had consumed so much of my life. I lived in terror and stuff. I never reached out to find out why he was released. I still want to know why he was released. I'm pretty sure I know why. He was crooked as hell. and stuff. And unfortunately, our system is broken in a lot of ways. But thankfully, he never harassed me after getting out of prison. It's been like almost 30 years since this happened to me. And one of the things I've learned is that this will come back up over and over again. And you'll have to reprocess what happened to you whenever you have major life milestones and things like that. It's ironic that I hadn't had this work in a show in a while, and I have it in a show right now. And 2 days ago, I get a message from a stranger on Facebook telling me that she randomly came across one of my Me Too videos online, and that my ex-stepfather just recently moved across the street from them, or from her family, in Kentucky. This man owes me an apology. He owes me an apology to my face. Probably never going to get that apology. But in the meantime, I can share my story. And I would appreciate it if you continued to help share my story and that of others that have experienced this kind of trauma and assault. The number of people that false report is incredibly low, incredibly low. And the reason it's incredibly low is because it's incredibly painful. It is incredibly painful to let other people know that you've been through something like this. If someone has the courage to come out about something having happened to them, it probably did. Now, I've had a long time to think about why people don't believe others or don't support victims, survivors, whatever. And personally, I believe that it's because a lot of them have had something similar happen to them themselves. And unfortunately, hurt people hurt others. A lot of times it's not intentional, it's unintentional, by allowing a negative cycle to continue. The other most common reasons is because people don't want to believe. They don't want to believe that this kind of evil happens as often as it does, and they don't want to believe that people in their communities do this kind of stuff. But I can't tell you how many people I know that have had something happen to them and their family didn't support them, didn't believe them. I'm so thankful that my family believed me and that they stood by me in court, which was one of the hardest things that I've ever done. I've literally never prayed so hard in my life than the day I was in court and we were waiting on the jury to come out. I don't know who was on that jury, but thank you for believing me. Thank you for believing me. There have been so many times that I regretted going through the legal process because it was hard enough coming out about what happened to me. But putting myself constantly in front of a jury and other people, having my honor, integrity, and honesty and character constantly questioned, I felt like I was a lamb putting myself up on the slaughter thing. And I didn't do it to punish my ex-stepfather. I did it because I'm an elder sibling, and I like to think of myself as a mom or sibling or, nurture champion for everybody. And I just wanted this man to stop. And I didn't believe that he would stop unless we went to court. And I wanted to show other people that, sometimes you have to fight for what's right, no matter how hard it is, no matter how much it hurts you to do so. And if I'm being honest, as much as it hurt me to go through that process, it probably would have hurt me more if I hadn't have done it. Facing your demons is hard. It's so hard. But until you face them, they're just going to continue to torment you. You have to face them, and it's never as scary as you think it's going to be. But once you face them, that's when you actually have a chance to heal. And yes, when you go through stuff like this, you're going to have to reprocess it multiple times in your life. It's something that's always going to be with you. But I never imagined that I would be as happy as I am now and that I would have the life that I have now. I can't tell you how many times I thought that I had died, that I needed to have a funeral for who I was before all this happened to me. And this happened to me between 13 and 15. I'm 41 now. It's really only been, this was 2017. I started that healing process really here, and this was a big catalyst for it. But it's really only been like the last 5 or 6 years that I was thankful that I never had that metaphorical funeral for younger me, because I feel like I'm her again, and getting to make this work and getting to share it and talk about it when I feel up to it has been a big catalyst for that. So thank you so much to everyone that has supported me and encouraged me at any point. Thank you so much to Jacksonville State University and all of my wonderful art family people there, especially my photo people, Doug Clark and Sarah Kusamata Miles, who really was just an angel supporting me and helping me process this project. And once again, thank you, Buckham Gallery and Daryl Baird, for including this image in your exhibition. It really means a lot. Thank you.